ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి, జేఈఈ అయినా, నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
Hello students, let us continue with the concept of presentation. Now, the arrangement of ovules in an ovary is called placentation. The arrangement of ovules in an ovary is called placentation. So, for the last class, we studied about, we started with types of placentation. The first one we studied about marginal placentation. Similarly, we studied about axillary placentation. So, for the last class, we studied about marginal placentation and axillary placentation. Now, let us continue our discussion with the next one, third category called as parietal placentation. So, let us continue with parietal placentation. What is the first one? We have marginal placentation. Second one is axillary placentation, which we completed for the last class. So, let us continue with what is called a parietal placentation. So, when we take the parietal placentation here, now we can say this is also a bi-two multicarpellary, meaning the number of carpels may be two or many, bi-two multicarpellary, and moreover it is unilocular. Only one locule. What is locule? Locule meaning chamber. There is only one chamber, unilocular. And we have bi means two, multi means many, we have two many carpels. Now, apart from this, here we can talk about ovules. So, here in this case, ovules are born on inner wall. Ovules are born on inner wall and periphery. So here I will show you this part in diagram. Now let us take example. We can take examples such as brassica, argemone, as well as cucurbita. Okay, so where do you find parietal placentation? Parietal placentation you find in brassica, argemone, as well as in cucurbita. Now, what is the meaning of this? When you see this is unilocular, you can see the arrangement is like this. This is nothing but walls, outer wall and inner wall. We can see very clearly here, outer wall as well as inner wall here. Now, when we take outer wall and inner wall here, we can see the arrangement of ovules like this. We can see the arrangement of ovules like this. So here, ovules are born on the inner wall. Ovules are born on the inner wall. This is outer wall, inner wall. The ovules are attached to the inner wall. Not in the center, that means towards periphery. So here, periphery meaning towards outer side, not in the center. They are not present in the center. That's why we say periphery, because they are located on the inner wall. And this is only one chamber. We find only one chamber. It's called unilocular. But the number of carpels may vary from bi-two multicarpellary. Number of carpels may be two or many carpels. Such type is called as towards periphery. This kind is called parietal placentation. Okay, I repeat again. Parietal placentation starts from bi-two multicarpellary, meaning the number of carpels may be two to many, and unilocular meaning only one chamber. Ovules are born on the inner wall, means on the inner wall, not on the outer wall, and periphery means towards periphery side, not in the center. That's why it's called parietal placentation. Where do you find parietal placentation? We find in case of brassica, argemone, Now we have a different type of placentations. Apart from the parietal placentation, now you can see basal placentation. Basal placentation. What is meant by basal placentation here? Now this is also unilocular, means only one chamber, and we find only single ovule. That means presence of only one ovule. The one ovule is located at the base of the ovary. Okay, there is only one ovule. The one ovule is being located at the base of the ovary. So here, if you look at such type, we find in case of. Let me give you examples first. Now this we find in case of Helianthus. Helianthus, as we all know, is commonly called as sunflower, and also found in case of marigold. So you know marigold is from Bantu, right? So Helianthus sunflower. That's again another example is marigold. Now let's come to the description here. We said unilocular. So when you take unilocular, this will be like this. This is nothing but only one chamber. Unilocular means only one chamber. In one chamber, how many ovules are there? Single ovule means only one ovule. Like this. Right? So you find this blacker one, what I have done, this is only one ovule, single ovule. Where it is located? At the base of the ovary. At the base of, from the base of the ovary it starts and ends again with the base of the ovary. Such type is called as a basal placentation. Such one is called as what? Basal placentation. So again I say basal placentation, unilocular. Now, here if you look at what we study here, Helianthus marigold, both of them belong to Asteraceae. Which family? Asteraceae. Helianthus and marigold, both of that belong to Helianthus marigold, both of them belong to family Asteraceae. So, here the ovary is located at the base of the ovary. Now, once again I will just revise quickly, concentrate here. Now, if you take types of placentation, earlier for the last class we discussed about marginal placentation. You know that Pisum sativum is an example, Dolichos beans, characteristic feature of Fabaceae. So, we discussed marginal placentation, example is Fabaceae. Let me write here, you can take example Fabaceae. This we discussed for the last class. Similarly, axial placentation. Now, if you take the axial placentation, you know that all the ovules or the seeds attached exactly in the center with the axis, placenta forms the axis. Such type is called as what? Axial placentation. So, Lycopepsicum, Solanum, we discussed all the examples, right. Then coming to third one, so these two, marginal placentation, axial placentation we discussed for the last class. Both will come under where? Types of placentation. What is exactly meant by placentation? The arrangement of ovules in an ovary, it is called placentation. What is placentation? The arrangement of ovules in an ovary, it is called placentation. Now, 1 and 2 are studied last class. Let us come with the third one, parietal placentation. What is the meaning of parietal placentation? It is bi to multicarpellary, meaning 2 to many carpels. But here unilocular means only one chamber. Here you can see only one chamber, unilocular. Ovules are born on inner wall and periphery. So here these are the ovules. Where the ovules are born? These are born on the inner wall. This is inner wall. They are located on the inner wall. Ovules are born on the inner wall and periphery. Periphery means towards periphery, not in the center. That's why it's called parietal placentation. What are the examples? Brassica, Argemone, Cucurbita. So such type we find in these examples. What is the next one? Basal placentation. Meaning unilocular means only one chamber. So the blue colored one which we have studied, this is nothing but unilocular, meaning only one chamber. And here single ovule is present, only one ovule is present, that starts located at the base of the ovary. It starts from the base and ends with the base here, and you find in case of Helianthus, commonly called sunflower, marigold, common, you know that common name, in Telugu we call Bantipuvu, right? So both of them belong to the family called as Asteraceae. Right, now let us continue further with the types of placentations. Right. Now let us continue with the next one, sixth one, free central placentation. What we call the next one? Free central placentation. Now when we take the free central placentation here, now this also we say that this is also unilocular, right, and this is also from bi to multicarpellary. Now where the ovules are there? Ovules are born on the center or exactly in the center. Ovules are born in the center. So they are completely free. Ovules are free and born in the center. Now if you look at the diagram, this is the fruit wall if you take, and ovules are born exactly in the center. These ovules are born exactly in the center. As they are located very freely in the center, that's why it's called as free central placentation. That's why it's called as what? Free central placentation. Freely in the center you can see the arrangement of ovules. It's called free central placentation. You find in case unilocular, you find in bi to multicarpellary, meaning two to many carpels are present, and these ovules are born exactly in the center. Where do you find such type of arrangement? We find in case of a primrose and dianthus. We find in case of primrose and dianthus. Free central placentation we find in case of primrose and dianthus. They are found very freely in the center. Examples are important for you all to remember. Now if you take placentation, what are the altogether 6 types of placentations? At a time I am writing. The first one is called as a marginal placentation, and the second one is called as axial placentation. Third one is called as parietal placentation. Fourth one is called as free central, or you can write basal placentation, and the next one is called as basal placentation. So either you can write here basal placentation or free central, or you can write the next one basal or free central placentations. So placentation of the gynoecium, what we say exactly placentation, the arrangement of ovules in an ovary is called placentation. In that we discussed all 5 types of placentations. So guys, for NEET point of view, placentation is very important. Make sure that you practice the diagrams. Diagrams are very simple. When you take the transverse section of the ovary, when you see the TS of ovary, you can see exactly the arrangement of ovules. Generally after fertilization, these ovules develops into seeds. Generally if you cut the tomato or dianthus or helianthus, what you can see after fertilization, these ovules develops into what are called as seeds, right. Now, so these are nothing but different types of placentations. It is important, we have previous NEET questions on this, so make sure that you practice all 5 types along with the examples. Now let us take with fruit, which is very important. Fruit is very important concept. So we have a previous NEET questions on this. Quite a number of times, almost every NEET paper we have NEET questions. Almost every NEET paper we have previously NEET questions are there. So we can talk about the fruit. Fruit part is very important. Every year NEET paper we have questions on fruit. So let us talk about the fruit part. Now you know that flower after fertilization, it develops into fruit. In generally what do we say? The flowering has taken place on the plant. Flowers are produced. So here the flowers develop into fruit. When they develop into fruit here, you all know it very well, after the process called as fertilization. What do we say? The flower after fertilization. What is fertilization? Fusion of pollen grain with the ovary, fusion of male gamete with the female gamete, it is called fertilization. So what do we say here? After fertilization, the flower develop into fruit. After fertilization, the flower developed into what is called fruit. So we call fruit is also called as a matured ovary, or itself is called as a ripened ovary developed after fertilization. So here in this case, if you take, what you can study here, we are studying fruit. Generally what is a fruit? A flower after fertilization develop into fruit. So how can you define the fruit? A fruit itself is defined as a matured ovary, completely developed ovary, or we say a ripened ovary developed after the process of fertilization itself is called as what? The fruit. Now when we take the fruit here, now the fruit can be divided into 3 types. The first one itself is called as true fruit, and the second one is called as false fruit, and the next one itself is called as, third one itself is called as parthenocarpic fruit. Parthenocarpic fruit. Okay, altogether we have 3 types. Excuse me sir, can you please help me filling this? Oh yeah, thank you so much. So here how many types of fruits we have? We have 3 types. Altogether how many types we have? We have altogether 3 types. What are the 3 types of fruits we find here? We find true fruit, false fruit, and we find what is called as parthenocarpic fruit. We will come back to true fruit and false fruit here, because this true fruit is the main thing. We have to continue our discussion with the true fruit. But let us discuss about what is called a parthenocarpic fruit. So we were discussing about parthenocarpic fruit. So when you take the parthenocarpic fruit, better I will write these 2 characters or 2 categories later. So we are discussing the first one as what? Parthenocarpic fruit. So here parthenocarpic fruit. Why? Because if you can discuss and keep it aside, then we can truly concentrate and completely concentrate on true fruit and false fruit. So when you take the parthenocarpic fruit here, we say that ovary here, in this case the ovary without fertilization, develops into fruit. What you can do here is ovary without fertilization directly develops into fruit. What's the meaning of this? Ovary is not undergoing any fertilization. Ovary without fertilization directly develops into fruit. Now just look at the definition what I have discussed with you earlier. Just look it up. What is a fruit we have defined? A flower develops into fruit where a matured or ripened ovary developed after fertilization. Meaning after fertilization ovary is the one develops into fruit. Actually the definition is for the fruit what we say, after fertilization ovary develops into fruit, right? That is true fruit, but we call some of the fruits as parthenocarpic fruits. What are parthenocarpic fruits? In this, ovary without fertilization, meaning ovary is not undergoing the fertilization. Without fertilization, ovary directly develops into fruit. Better you can write down here, directly. I think you are understanding how the way you have to refer the definition. See the sequence. Ovary without fertilization directly develops into fruit. Meaning here ovary is not undergoing any fertilization. That's why we call parthenocarpic fruits. Generally, these parthenocarpic fruits are seedless. Why there are no seeds here? Because no fertilization. Generally, parthenocarpic fruits what we find, they don't contain any seeds. They are seedless. Okay, I hope you all got it. Very, very important. What is parthenocarpic fruit? Ovary without fertilization directly develops into fruit. Now, you can take examples. You can take examples such as banana, and we can take grapes as an examples, and along with banana, grapes, even you can take pineapple. So in these cases the fruits are called as parthenocarpic fruit because no fertilization, ovary directly develops into what is called a fruit. Right. Now the parthenocarpic fruits are induced by a plant hormones. Very, very important. Which plant hormones we will get it? The plant hormones what we get are nothing but, try to remember, you will get it in your second year. One is auxins, other one is gibberellins. One is auxins, other one is gibberellins. So here this is induced by plant hormones, auxins and gibberellins. So we say parthenocarpy is induced by, what is the meaning of that? Ovary without fertilization developing into fruit itself is called parthenocarpy. Now what you can write here? Here you can write parthenocarpy, means the process of parthenocarpy can make it to happen. What is meaning of induced by? Make it to happen by a plant hormone such as auxins and gibberellins. So here parthenocarpy can also happen with the help of spraying some of the hormones, or plant itself will spray, or itself will produce the hormones. Which hormones they are? Auxins and gibberellins. So auxins and gibberellins, remember guys, I am going to ask you in the second year, because we will study in detail about what are auxins and what are gibberellins. We are going to study in the second year. Remember, parthenocarpy induced by auxins and gibberellins, very very important. So this is nothing but third category, what we call parthenocarpy, right? I repeat again. Flower after fertilization develop into fruit. Generally the definition, if you look at, a fruit itself is called a mature or ripened ovary, which usually develops after fertilization. Then we have types of fruits. In that, one of the categories a parthenocarpic fruits. Generally they are seedless. Generally if you go and buy in the market the grapes generally nowadays we are getting seedless grapes, right? So what are they? Banana, grapes, pineapple, when you take, generally they are seedless. What happens in this case? Ovary without fertilization directly develops into fruit. That's why there are no seeds. Now apart from this, this process can be induced by plant hormones such as auxins and gibberellins. Let's continue for the other two categories of the fruit. Right. So what are we discussing now here? The types of fruit. What we are discussing are types of fruits. So when you take the types of fruit, now third category we already have discussed. Let us see the first two categories. We see two fruits, and what is the second category we can write? The second one we call that as false fruits. So what is the third category? Third category already we have discussed. The third category comes under parthenocarpic fruit. Right? So what we have done now, what we have done here is, we completed parthenocarpic fruit discussion and we took two types of fruits. What are they? We have taken true fruits and we have taken now false fruits, and we will go with the comparative studies. Then it becomes easy for you to remember what exactly meant by true fruit and what exactly meant by false fruit. So let us take these two for comparison, because we already completed third category called as parthenocarpic fruits. Now let us start with what is meant by true fruits. So here, as we discussed based upon the definition, in this case the fruit develops directly, or you can say only, but you can make it short definition, develops only from ovary. Only from ovary. Meaning here, only you need to stress. That means this particular fruit develops only from ovary. It develops only from ovary. No other part is involved. So the definition for the fruit what I have given exactly will come for true fruit. That means here again I am writing definition. Ovary after fertilization develops into ovary after fertilization develops into fruit. So what we have to study and understand here, the ovary after fertilization develops into fruit. That fruit itself is called true fruit, right? Ovary will undergo fertilization. then develops into fruit. That fruit itself is called true fruit. Then why do we? So here when you take here what we are discussing, the true fruits ovary after fertilization develop into fruit. When you say that ovary undergo fertilization and developing into what? Fruit. That means here this is exactly the fruit, it is called true fruit. Then why do you call fruit develops only from ovary? Because no other floral part is involved. What are floral parts? Calyx, corolla, androecium and parts of gynoecium. No other floral part is involved. So better you just make a note of it. What is why we have written only from ovary? The meaning is in this formation of true fruit, no other floral parts are involved. No other floral part is involved. What are floral parts? As I said, calyx, corolla, androecium are not involved in the formation of fruit. That is why we say only from ovary, not from floral part. No other floral parts are involved. Such type of fruits are called as true fruit. The definition what I have given as it is a definition for true fruit. I hope you got it, right? So here we are stressing fruits develop only from ovary because no other floral parts are involved, because here the ovary after fertilization develops into fruit. Such type of fruit is called as what? Generally they are called as true fruits. Right. Now when you take here, when we say the true fruits here, now let us continue further. Now when you say the true fruit here, no other floral parts means better for your understanding you just write down calyx, corolla as well as stamens. So these things are not involved. Generally what happens, suppose if you take after fertilization, generally if you look at after fertilization, what you can do is calyx, corolla and stamens, all they will get fall off. Generally we say they degenerate and they will get fall off. Generally what happens, they degenerate and they will totally get fall off. Again I repeat, after fertilization calyx will fall off, corolla will fall off, stamens also will degenerate means disappears, they will become dry and they will get fall off. Why? Because after fertilization, again I will write better when I say after fertilization, what is left? So when you take the flower, so this is what is, here is the ovary, this is gynoecium. So here you find calyx. So calyx also will get fall off. Green colored sepals, calyx will get fall off. Corolla also will get fall off. It won't be there in fruit formation. Then let us take stamens. If you take stamens, even stamens also they will get fall off. They will not be there after fertilization. Then what will be there? You can see only the ovary. In this even you find stigma, style, even they also will get fall off. They become dry and they will get fall off. What is left here? Only the ovary. So ovary contains what? Ovules. So here what I have drawn, this is nothing but ovary. Ovary is present. Inside ovary what is present? Ovules are present. Ovary is present, ovules are present after fertilization. See here in the diagram, rest all I kept wrong marks, means all they will get fall off. Calyx will fall off, this is green colored sepals. Petals, corolla will get fall off, stamens will get fall off. Stigma, the place where pollen grain is received, even that will get fall off. A long tubular structure, style also will get fall off. Then what you can see? Only the ovary having ovules, only these two are present when after fertilization. So what do we can write? Let us see what are the changes which happens here. so we say after fertilization, we say that ovules, meaning inside this, the round color structures, ovules develops into seeds, ovules develops into seeds, and the ovary develops into fruit. Okay, I hope you understood here, right? After fertilization, what are the things are present? Only ovary and ovules. Ovary develops into fruit. Ovary, what you find here, that outer wall of ovary itself develops into fruit. Inside the ovary, what you find? Ovules. Ovules after fertilization develops into seeds. So, the last 2 points are very, very important. Try to remember the last point. Again I say, after fertilization, rest all will get fall off, only ovules will be there within the ovary. Ovules develops into seeds and the ovary develops into fruit. Now let us describe once again what are true fruits. If you generally take the types of fruits, we have 3 types of fruits are there. We take true fruits and we take false fruit and we take parthenocarpic fruits. 3 types of fruits are there. First one, true fruit. What exactly meant by this? Fruit develops only from ovary, right? And ovary after fertilization develops into fruit. Why do we say only? Because no other floral parts are involved. Which are no other floral part? Calyx, corolla, stamens. Right. Generally what happens? After fertilization, calyx, corolla, stamens, they will get degenerate, meaning disappears, or they become dry and they get fall off. So here in this case, if you look at after fertilization, calyx will fall off, corolla will fall off, stamens will fall off, stigma will fall off, style will fall off. Only at the base what you can see here is ovary. Inside the ovary it is enclosed with ovules. That means after fertilization, ovules develops into seeds and ovary develops into fruit. Such type of fruits are called true fruits, and the last point is very, very important because almost in most of the chapters you will get repeated with the last point. Generally we divide the life cycle of the plant into 3: pre-fertilization, fertilization, post-fertilization. So, in post-fertilization, meaning what happens immediately after fertilization, when you take into consideration, this all will get fall off. It is important to remember, and very, very important, the same point will repeatedly will come, almost in a few chapters it will get repeated. Remember, at that time you are already notified, you already have learned, ovules develops into seeds and the ovary develops into fruit.